Discover the incredible life-changing moment when a millionaire CEO came to the rescue of a beat-up auto shop owner. James wiped the sweat from his brow as the sounds of laughter drifted through the open garage door. It was Saturday, the day of the local fair, with music spilling out like a joyful river through the faded streets of his neighborhood. The air was thick with the scent of popcorn and the vibrant colors of balloons and streamers, all reminders of what once was a time when hope filled the cracks of his laughter. But for James, at 38, life was a series of hurdles. His auto shop, a family legacy built by his father, was crumbling under the weight of decline and gentrification. Each turn of the wrench echoed with the pressure of mounting debts and his mother's worsening health. As the sun hung low in the sky, he nestled himself behind the hood of a car, listening closely to the clinks and clanks of his world. He was used to sweat and grease. It was all he knew. But amidst the chaos of engines and tools, the harsh reality loomed. If he didn't find a way to save his shop, his family's legacy would be buried under concrete and corporate greed. Then she appeared, Emily, polished and radiant, a world apart from his grease-stained existence. She strolled through the fair, seemingly unaware of the struggle that lay just beyond the shiny graphics of her company's new building next door. In her designer shoes and tailored suit, she was the image of success, the embodiment of the dreams he fought hard to keep alive. As fate would have it, a mechanical mishap brought them face to face when a young boy crashed a remote-controlled car into her shoes. The moment froze. Laughter erupted around them. "Oh no," she exclaimed, looking down. James stepped in. "Let me help with that," he offered, kneeling by her feet. Surprisingly, their eyes locked for a brief moment that felt suspended in time. In that shared smile, James sensed something he hadn't felt in a long time, a glimmer of hope. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As they talked, Emily's charms began to chip away the wall around his heart. Yet, he struggled with her presence, the chasm of their worlds tugging at him. She seemed oblivious to the reality he faced, a reality of shuttering businesses and diminishing hopes. But as their conversations grew woven with laughter and shared stories, their connection deepened. Little did they know the scale of what lay ahead when a scandal rocked her company, forcing Emily to come to James for advice. In a crowded town meeting, residents voiced their frustrations about the encroaching tech firm, their anger igniting the room. James felt the weight of their hopes on his shoulders. As he rose to speak, his heart raced like a revved engine. In front of him, Emily listened intently, their parallel struggles colliding. "You can't just bulldoze over our lives. This community deserves better," he shouted, his voice rising above the rumble of cries. The crowd stirred behind him, hearts beating as one in solidarity. But doubt lingered. Could Emily's corporate world truly understand? Would their alliance stand firm against the looming shadows of ambition? As they plotted their next steps together, James wondered, could two vastly different worlds unite for a common cause? Or was this just the beginning of an inevitable collision? The town meeting had ignited something inside James. He felt empowered, yet apprehensive. He stole a glance at Emily, who was still processing the emotional charge in the room. Her brows were knitted, her lips pursed in thought, a stark contrast to the confident exterior she usually wore. This was the first glimpse he had seen of her vulnerability, and it made him want to reach out, to bridge the gap between their lives. They gathered after the meeting to plot their next course of action. In the back of the auto shop, surrounded by engine parts and dusty old tools, Emily looked out of place but filled with determination. "We can't let this company steamroll over the community," she said, her voice steady. "I need to show them we're more than just a number on a balance sheet." James nodded, feeling emboldened. "What do you have in mind?" The tension between them crackled like electricity, each word sparking the possibility of change. "I was thinking, if we could host a community event at your shop, A showcase of what we stand to lose, Emily proposed. A car show, maybe paired with local artisans and small businesses. It would highlight our community's spirit and push back against the gentrification. The idea took root in James's mind. That could work. It could rally people together, give them a voice. It might even draw the media's attention to our cause. Her excitement was infectious. As they brainstormed, they flitted from one topic to another, ideas bouncing between them like children at play. He watched her enthusiasm unfold. The way she lit up at every suggestion and the reassuring warmth emanating from her presence. He felt a bond forming, but waded through the familiar waters of self-doubt. Emily, do you really think it'll make a difference? There's so much at stake, he murmured, fear creeping into his voice. Her gaze held his unwaveringly, and for a flickering heartbeat, he saw the fire of their shared dreams reflected in her eyes. Of course it can, she exclaimed. Beyond everything, we must stand united. You've seen what your family built. We can't let it disappear without a fight. But deep down, James feared the fallout. What if they failed? It felt risky, like revving the engine of an old car without checking if the oil was good. 5 engines could fail him tonight or one. Right then, a loud rev from outside interrupted their conversation. James rushed to the door, worried it might be trouble. There, parked in front of the shop, was Emily's company representative, a man he recognized but never trusted. The smug look on his face made James's stomach turn. What's he doing here? Maybe he's here for the meeting, Emily suggested cautiously. She stepped closer to his side, a protective stance. But as the man approached, confidence radiating off him, James felt the urgency building inside him. Emily sidestepped away, clenching her fists. You know I'm against this, right? James whispered to her, tension thrumming between them. I do, she replied, her voice steady. But we're in this together now. Suddenly, their handshake and tentative alliance felt heavier. James faced the unknown consequences of his next steps, the stakes higher than ever. Just remember, this is more than a fight for your shop, Emily said, taking a deep breath. This is a fight for us, for everything at stake. As they walked back together, ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead, James's heart raced. Could they really pull this off? Was their partnership strong enough to withstand the storm brewing outside? The ground felt uncertain beneath him, and yet he knew they had to try. Then they stepped into the light, but outside their safety net, the winds of change were roaring. James couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much greater battle. Would they emerge as victors, or would their dreams be dashed once and for all? The question loomed, heavy in the air. James and Emily exchanged worried glances as the man approached, his polished shoes glinting in the fading sunlight. There was a sense of foreboding in the air. James could feel the heat on the back of his neck as the figure drew closer. The man was a suit tight and crisp, flanked by an air of entitlement. Nice shop you've got here, he said, his voice smooth, almost mocking. But there are better opportunities out there. Places where, let's just say, the future looks a little brighter. Emily's jaw tightened. We're not interested, Dale, she replied, firmness edging her tone. Dale, James repeated under his breath, his dislike for the man bubbling just beneath the surface. What do you want? The smirk on Dale's face widened. I come with good news. Your little meeting, it's making waves. He took a step closer, invading their space like he owned it. I'm here to help you avoid any unnecessary heartache. James braced himself, fists clenched. We don't need your help. Really? You don't want to discuss a potential buyout? How much do you think your community will pay in court fees to fight us? I'm just trying to save you the trouble. Emily shot James a glance, a mixture of fear and determination coursing through her. We'll take the trouble. We're not selling out our home. Dale raised an eyebrow, feigning impressive surprise. Bold stance. But I must say you'll find it difficult to rally support. Most people prefer peace over a fight. James felt his anger swelling. Was peace really an option when everything they loved was at stake? You think so? Dale shrugged. I know so. The other way just gets messy. Let us not pretend you have our best interest at heart. Emily shot back, her voice steady. What you mean is your bottom line. Dale stepped back, as if taken aback by the fierceness of her words. Then he chuckled softly, shaking his head. I admire your spirit, really. But sometimes, getting knocked down is a good lesson. James exchanged looks with Emily, the unspoken challenge evident between them. Dale wasn't going to back down easily. He wouldn't just roll over and let them do as they pleased. What if we organized our event? Emily suggested, a glint of rebellion in her eyes. A car show to showcase local talent. You can bring your company's checkbook. Dale's eyes widened, and he hesitated for just a moment. You're serious? Dead serious. James felt his heart race. He'd never seen this side of Emily before, the bold, courageous part of her that refused to be intimidated. Then I'll see you at the show, Dale replied. His tone as cool as the evening air. And just remember, it's easier to negotiate when you have something to offer. As he sauntered away, James turned to Emily, feeling like they had just traded blows in a boxing ring. Do you think he'll try to sabotage us? Probably, Emily answered, already tapping into her phone to start making arrangements. But that's only more reason to pull this off. We'll show him our strength. The adrenaline pumped through James's veins. He felt enlivened by her enthusiasm but also terrified. They were putting everything on the line now. Okay, so what's our first step? He asked, the uncertainty still gnawing at him. Emily looked at him, her gaze unwavering. We gather the community. We rally them. This isn't just about your shop or my job. This is about who we are. As she turned back to her phone, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting brilliant hues across the sky. James let out a shaky breath. We can do this. Absolutely, she said, her voice filled with conviction. But as they began to outline the details, a weight tugged at James's heart. He wondered, could they truly stand strong against something as powerful as Dale's company? Would the community really pull together in support? And as he watched Emily's determination shine through, he couldn't shake the nagging question. Was he strong enough to keep up with her fight, or would he falter when it mattered most? The next morning dawned with a stillness that settled over the shop like a thick fog. James opened the shutter, feeling the weight of the world press against his shoulders. The sun was bright, but all he could think about was the darkness looming over the car show they were planning. Emily was already there, laptop humming, drafting emails, organizing flyers, and fleshing out a game plan. Morning, she called, looking up with a spark in her eyes. I've reached out to a few local businesses. Everyone's on board for the car show. It's happening. Her excitement was infectious, and James felt his heart flutter, even amidst his worries. That's great, he said, trying to mirror her enthusiasm. Yet doubt gnawed at him. How could they actually pull this off? He joined her at the small table, its stained surface a reminder of countless meetings and community events. They spent the morning brainstorming, outlining the format of the show, arranging volunteers, and figuring out logistics. Each detail seemed monumental, yet each step forward brought them a bit closer to their goal. As noontime approached, they stepped out to grab lunch from the food truck that had become their go-to. It felt like a small moment of normalcy in a whirlwind of uncertainty. The delicious smell of tacos filled the air, and for a few minutes, James felt a flicker of hope. Do you really think people will show up? James asked, trying to shake off the anxiety. What if Dale has a plan to undermine us? I won't let him, Emily replied, unwavering. This is bigger than just him. It's about our entire community. Remember what we talked about? It's about unity. Her words rang with conviction. He nodded, but doubts lingered. What happened if they failed? After lunch, they headed back to the shop. The message boards were steady with notifications. One caught his eye, an anonymous post on a community forum about the upcoming event. The comments ranged from excitement to skepticism. The more he read, the more hope crept in. Look at this, he said, showing the screen to Emily. They're excited. People really want to help us. See? I told you, she said, her face glowing. This is just the beginning. But as the days sped on, tension grew. They worked day and night, organizing everything. Securing permits, rallying volunteers, and hounding businesses for support. Yet, with each passing moment, Dale's shadow loomed larger. The morning of the event, James woke feeling like a balloon filled with air but tethered to the ground. He rushed to the shop to meet Emily for one last run-through. The streets were alive with anticipation. Banners flapped in the wind, booths were set up, and cars were rolled in, gleaming under the sun. But amidst the excitement, James's stomach twisted. What if Dale showed up and tried to steal the show? They stood by the entrance, surveying the crowd that was starting to gather. Emily beamed, but James felt his heart race as unease washed over him. "Are you okay?" she asked, noticing the tension in his face. I'm worried about this backfiring on us. What if we can't get Dale's attention?" he admitted, the words spilling out before he could stop them. Her smile faltered, but she held his gaze steady. "We have to believe in this. This is our moment. Our community is here for us." Then, out of the corner of his eye, James saw a sleek silver SUV pull up. A chill ran down his spine as he realized who was stepping out. "Emily, is that?" Before he could finish, Dale emerged from the car, flanked by his entourage. The crowd began to murmur. What was he doing here? James's heart dropped, worry flooding his mind. They had to finish what they started, but with the tension thick in the air, he knew they were about to face their greatest challenge yet. What was Dale planning? Would he just watch their event unfold, or did he have another trick up his sleeve? James's breath hitched as he watched Dale strut through the crowd, confidence oozing from every step he took. The murmurs rose in volume, a mixture of curiosity and dread. The vibrant atmosphere was suddenly tinged with uncertainty. What had he come for? "Stay calm," Emily whispered, squeezing James's hand. "We can't let him intimidate us." Her voice was steady, a beacon amidst the rising tide of tension. But as Dale approached, flanked by his polished aides, James couldn't shake the worry that danced wildly in his stomach. He had seen how Dale could manipulate a situation, how he relished in claiming the spotlight. Emily's hand was warm in his, but it couldn't dispel the chill creeping up his spine. "Look at this," Dale called out, projecting his voice with practiced ease. The crowd shifted, turning to face him, their attention pivoting away from Emily and James. "A car show? In this old parking lot?" He laughed, a hollow sound. "They've really outdone themselves this time. Isn't that right?" A few chuckles bubbled up from his entourage, but many others shifted uncomfortably. James could feel the excitement deflating like a punctured balloon. Emily's grip tightened around his hand. Her eyes were fiery, determined. "Let him talk," she said quietly. "We've worked too hard to let him take this from us." She was right. This was their moment. The crowd needed to see it, to feel it. Gathering her courage, Emily stepped forward, capturing attention and reclaiming the atmosphere. "Yes, we are having a car show," she declared. "And it's about celebrating our community. Our passion. It's not about the location but the hearts behind it." Dale's brow furrowed a bit, surprised by her sudden boldness. He hadn't expected that. The crowd shifted again, and in their faces, James saw the flickers of loyalty. They cared about Emily, and they cared about what they were doing together. "Let us show them what we've got." James took a breath and stepped up beside Emily, channeling the energy around him. "Today is about all of us. We're raising funds to support our local charity, to help families in need." With that, the crowd began to cheer, their voices mixing into a roaring affirmation. James glanced over at Dale. The millionaire's expression turned tight, his plans slipping further from his grasp. But just then, one of Dale's aides stepped forward, a smirk on his face. "Sure, a nice speech, but how many of these people even know what car shows are really about?" He threw the question like a jab, and James could feel the skepticism sink into the crowd. Emily's confidence faltered a fraction, and he felt the need to defuse the negativity. "Maybe what matters isn't just the cars," James interjected, his voice rising. "It's about community, support, and hope. It's about cheering for each other, regardless of what should define success." The crowd responded with a ripple of applause, but James noticed the flicker of doubt on some faces. Dale had planted seeds of discontent, and it felt like a race against time to counter them. As more people began to gather, the atmosphere changed. Energy surged back into the crowd. They began to roam the booths, laughing, sharing stories, and examining the cars gleaming in the sunlight. Dale remained poised at the perimeter, frustration barely contained. He glanced back at his aides, murmuring to each other, and James wondered if perhaps Dale was running out of tricks. "We can't stop now," Emily urged, urgency lighting her eyes. "This is just the beginning." And she was right. But as the crowd surged forward in support, James noticed something unsettling in Dale's demeanor, a hint of calculation. Suddenly, a loud thud broke through the noise. James turned to see the lead car for the show, a classic Mustang, suddenly lurching backward, crashing into a table filled with merchandise. Gasps echoed through the crowd. "Is he doing this?" James blurted out, panic gripping his heart. What was Dale's endgame? Was this sabotage? The crowd erupted into chaos. The crash was deafening. A wave of murmur rippled through the crowd, like a sudden storm breaking across a calm sea. James's heart raced as he broke into a cold sweat. The table was now a jumbled mess of merchandise, scattering flyers, clothes, and other trinkets everywhere. Emily was frozen beside him, her gaze darting from the wreckage to Dale, who wore a predatory grin. "What a shame," he said, feigning sympathy. "I guess the show just isn't up to par." His voice dripped with sarcasm, and the crowd began to whisper nervously. "Gather yourself," James urged Emily, feeling the tension in the air press down on him. "This is our moment. We can't let him win." He squeezed her hand tighter, drawing strength from her warmth. "Is everyone okay?" Melissa, a volunteer with vibrant blue hair, bolted forward, her voice cutting through the panic. "We need to set things right. Someone grab a broom. Please, someone call an ambulance." One of the onlookers shouted, panic gripping the remaining spectators. James looked at Emily. "We need to turn this around." He could see that doubt flickered in her eyes, just for a moment. "There's fire in these people. Let it burn." There was a small group by the Mustang, assessing the damage. James pushed through the crowd, urging Emily to follow. As they approached, he shouted, "If you can pick up a broom, you can help us rebuild. This car show means something, and we'll make sure it continues." With rising enthusiasm, the crowd started to move. People leaned down to help pick up the scattered merchandise. Others helped stabilize the overturned Mustang. Someone even started to sweep the debris from the ground. "See? They're with us," Emily shouted, her voice rekindling the fire James had sensed earlier. But as James looked back at Dale, he looked more determined than ever. Watching the chaos, he signaled to his aides, who began whispering among themselves. James felt the heaviness in the air shift. Dale had something planned. "Keep an eye on him," James cautioned Emily, who nodded with fierce resolve. The atmosphere sparkled with hope as the crowd regained focus, working together to rectify the mess. They began to cheer once more, and smiles started to replace frowns. With the chaos of the crash behind them, people began to recount stories of their favorite cars. Conversations sparked back into life. Laughter bubbled up, and the spirit of camaraderie grew stronger amidst the wreckage. A repair stand was quickly set up, and soon people were moving in to lend a hand with tools from their own garages. As the Mustang was being tended to by a small group of car enthusiasts, James looked out at the crowd, feeling a new sense of pride swell within him. They had risen from despair, united. The atmosphere was alive again, buzzing with potential. But just then, Dale stepped forward once more, prepared for a showdown. "Who's going to prove to me this is worth my time?" he boomed, as if challenging the very heart of their gathering. "Let us see some real talent here, or is this purely for show?" Dread wrapped around James like a vice. What was Dale planning next? Would he tear apart everything they had built? As Emily met his gaze, both confusion and determination swirled in her eyes. Determined to defend what they had created. Was this the tipping point? James took a breath, realizing they were both standing on the edge of something monumental. Would they step forward or let fear dictate their next move? The crowd was waiting, tension heavy, ready to either cheer or turn. In that moment, the future felt uncertain, electric, hanging in the balance. What would they choose? James felt the weight of the crowd's eyes on him. Sudden silence enveloped the area, a thick tension hanging in the air. Every heartbeat echoed like a ticking clock, marking the moments as they slipped away. "All right, folks. You heard him." James raised his voice, trying to break through the uncertainty. "We've got a challenge in front of us, and I say we're up for it." He stepped forward, adrenaline coursing through him. "Let us show Dale what this community can do." The crowd around him shifted, sparks of excitement flickering in their eyes. "We're not just here for a show. We're here to be part of something bigger." Emily's voice rang out, unwavering and clear, igniting the flame within others. "Let us have a little contest," James announced, feeling braver with every word. "Let us see who has the best skills on display. Cars, creativity, spirit, bring it all. Let us make this a showcase of our talent." The murmurings of agreement grew louder, renewed ambition filling the crowd. James felt a swell of hope. They could do this. He noticed Dale shift uncomfortably, the confidence in his smirk faltering just a little. "Seems like someone's scared to compete," Emily said under her breath, giving James a sideways glance. "Let us put him on the spot," he replied with a wink. "If he thinks he can judge us, let us challenge him to show what he has got." Dale feigned laughter, but it was tinged with a hint of annoyance. "You think you can impress me with this?" "Not just impress you but surprise you," James said, stepping closer. "We're not backing down. This is about us." With that, the crowd's energy shifted again. People began gathering supplies, scattering in all directions to gather tools and resources, smiles replacing the earlier dread. A makeshift stage was quickly formed from crates, chairs, and whatever they could find, inviting excitement back into the mix. James jumped onto the makeshift stage, adrenaline sparking his every move. "We'll have contests. Best car display. Fastest rebuild. Let us put our skills to the test." His voice rang true, rallying everyone around him, their spirits rising like balloons against a sky. "But what if Dale sabotages us?" Emily worried, her brow furrowing. "Then we'll show him that nothing can bring us down together," James assured, meeting her gaze with steady determination. Dale, realizing he was losing control of the narrative, spat back. "And what about prizes? I'm not here to just give out names. Let us not wait for a prize from you." Melissa chimed in, hands on her hips, unfazed. "This is community-driven. The only prize we want is shared stories and memories." Cheers erupted like fireworks, echoing against the walls of the venue. People eagerly volunteered for different roles. Some fetched drinks, while others organized the contests. The possibility of a shared triumph filled the air, tangy and sweet. Just as the buzzing excitement reached a peak, Dale bared his teeth in a twisted grin, stepping forward again. "All right, let us see your best shot. But just know this, I don't play nice." James felt a chill run down his spine. A confrontation was inevitable. With the stage set, he took a deep breath, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Would their spirit hold strong against Dale's dark intentions? The crowd was alive, the adrenaline sharp. In that moment, everything felt possible. Together, they had a chance to not only prove their worth but genuinely come together in celebration. But it would take courage and conviction. Would they rise to the occasion? Or would the weight of the challenge crush them? The countdown to their moment of truth had begun. What would they choose when the stakes really mattered? The air was electric, humming with anticipation. James stood at the makeshift stage, the crowd around him alive with energy. He could see friends and neighbors starting to take charge, some eagerly drawing up plans for contests, while others rounded up supplies. This was it. This was their moment. "All right, everyone. Let us split into teams," James shouted, raising his arms to rally the crowd. "Let us get creative. Who wants to build the best car display?" A group of kids jumped up, their faces lit with determination, ready to show what they could do. Emily was already at it, coordinating logistics with Melissa. "Let us have a sign-up sheet. We need to organize how this is going to flow." She spoke with passion, her voice cutting through the chaos. James couldn't help but admire her spirit. Dale's presence loomed like a shadow, his self-assuredness barely holding up. "You all really think this is going to go your way?" he called out, the sarcasm wrapped around his words like a shroud. "I guess you'll see just how easy it is to fail. Let him think he can rattle us," James said under his breath to Emily, just loud enough for her to hear. "We know what we're capable of." As excitement spread, teams formed quickly. Laughter bubbled up as ideas bounced off each other. "Okay, who wants the engine building challenge?" called out a taller boy. "We need someone who can actually fix stuff." That coaxed a whistle of laughter from the crowd. James could feel it, the bonds tightening, the heart of their community pulsing with every passing moment. They were turning fear into fuel. Meanwhile, Dale stood aloof, tapping his foot, obviously growing impatient. "This isn't some fairy tale where the little guys win," he sneered. "Watch us," James muttered, feeling the fire within him grow. His gaze found Emily's again, unwavering. Together they were unstoppable. The first contest was announced. Best DIY car display. Teams rushed to gather items: old tires, wheels, paint, and even bits of scrap metal and wood. There was a flurry of activity as they transformed everyday junk into imaginative car sculptures reflecting their spirit. "Look at this," a young girl exclaimed as she proudly held up a brightly painted hubcap, now morphing into a smiling face. And just like that, the atmosphere shifted. Compliments flowed through the crowd, encouragements echoed, and the competitive thrill wrapped everyone like a warm blanket. Yet, Dale watched, his eyes narrowed. "I hope you're ready for the real competition," he called out mockingly. "You have no idea what pressure feels like." James recognized the threat in Dale's words. "We're already feeling the pressure," he shouted back, "and we're rising to the occasion." As the day unfolded, the community began to bond stronger than ever, sharing stories and laughter. They were creating something special together, something Dale couldn't take from them. Yet, that thought hung heavy in the air. What would his next move be? Just when it seemed everything was coming together, a loud crash suddenly erupted from across the field. A group of onlookers gasped in unison, eyes turning toward the chaos. James's heart raced. What now? He thought, dread pooling in his stomach. Would this disrupt everything they built? Or would it be the test of their spirit that Dale never anticipated? The excitement faded into uncertainty, leaving everyone at the edge of their breath. Amidst the frenzy, a new challenge loomed and an unexpected twist was on the horizon. What would they do when faced with this new obstacle? The crowd parted like a wave, revealing the source of the commotion. A small cart, laden with supplies for the festival, had toppled over, sending cans, tools, and scattered cardboard flying across the grass. Gasps turned to laughter, then an excited buzz as people leaped in to help. "Is everyone okay?" James called, rushing forward. His gaze darted to the fallen cart. The vivid colors of the paint cans gleamed in the sunlight, but seeing the chaos ignited a wave of frustration within him. This wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a threat to all they were trying to build. "Yeah, we're good," shouted a man from the crowd who had stumbled but was quickly pushed back to his feet by a couple of teenagers. The laughter slowly replaced the tension, but James felt the lingering anxiety, a tight knot in his stomach. Emily rushed beside him, her face a mix of concern and determination. "We can fix this. Everyone, let us gather the paint and supplies. Let us keep moving." Her voice cut through the low murmurs, and the crowd responded, bustling forward with renewed resolve. James grabbed a can, noticing the unmistakable shade of vibrant blue paint. He couldn't help but smile. "This is going to be epic," he said to Emily as she picked up a couple of brushes. For a moment, he forgot about Dale looming off to the side, his frown deepening with each passing second. Dale, however, could not hide his smug expression. "Nice teamwork, but let us see how you handle real setbacks," he taunted, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "This little mess won't make a difference in the end." James exchanged glances with Emily, who just lifted her chin defiantly. "We're just getting started," she yelled back, and the crowd erupted into cheers. As they regrouped, a young boy, not more than 10, tugged on James's shirt. "Can I help?" he asked, eyes wide and innocent. "Absolutely. Let us paint a car together," James said, kneeling down to meet the boy's gaze. His spirit lifted with each interaction. The community was rallying, and each act of kindness built them higher. They were more than a group of people. They were a family in the making, with low laughter and shared stories about what the finished display might look like. The atmosphere lifted, and all hearts were light. Each brush stroke now bore the weight of their camaraderie, transforming the fear that had earlier gripped James into a sense of collective purpose. But suddenly, amidst the creativity and laughter, a new figure emerged in the crowd, tall and commanding, a stranger, dressed in a sharp suit, scanning the area. Whispers erupted among the townsfolk as his presence jarred the joyful energy. Was he another obstacle? Or could he be a lifeline? Dale leaned in closer, a smirk still playing on his lips. "Let us see how you handle this one." Everyone was turning to face the newcomer, curiosity and apprehension swirling together. Would this be another setback? Or could the stranger lead to a miracle? James felt the uncertainty creep back into his heart. Who is he? He wondered, feeling the weight of the moment settle in. As the crowd's chatter grew louder, an energy shifted in the air. The stakes were raised, and James could sense it. Little did he know that this unexpected visitation would alter the course of their day in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Would this newcomer lend a hand or deepen the troubles ahead? The stranger stepped forward, his crisp suit gleaming in the sun, sunlight bouncing off his polished shoes. Heads turned again, curiosity plastered on every face. He had a striking presence, a commanding air that silenced the crowd almost instantly. James felt his heart race anew. "Good afternoon, everyone." His voice boomed, deep and rich, surpassing the sounds of laughter and conversation. "I'm Gerald, CEO of Riverside Developments." A sharp intake of breath rippled through the crowd. Fears flickered that he might be here for Dale, but James held his ground, ready to stand up for their community. "Now, I know this may look like just a gathering of cars and camaraderie," Gerald continued, surveying the collective, "but I see potential here. I see a spirit that can't be broken." The murmurs turned to cautious optimism, eyes darting between James and Emily, waiting, hoping for the truth behind his words. "Is that so?" Dale smirked, stepping closer, clearly eager to dismantle this hopeful moment. "Hopefully you didn't come here to waste your time on a futile project." Gerald's gaze remained unwavering. "Actually, Dale, I'm quite interested in the spirit of this community. James and Emily here are showing incredible resilience, a willingness to fight for what they believe in." "Resilience?" Dale scoffed, crossing his arms. "What do you know about that? You wouldn't understand the struggles these people face." James felt the rising tension between the two men, the force of their respective worlds colliding like titans. The heart of the community fluttered, quietly supporting James and Emily, their hope latching onto every word Gerald uttered. "The truth is, it's time for change," Gerald continued, ignoring Dale's taunts. "This community deserves recognition and support. I'd like to offer my resources to help you all with this event, and for a larger campaign to highlight the talents and passion of this town." The air felt thick with disbelief. "A campaign?" someone whispered. James stepped forward, intuition igniting his courage. "And what does that mean for us exactly?" he asked, his voice steady. Gerald locked eyes with him, sincerity radiating from his demeanor. "It means we can help raise awareness, get funding, and attract new investment to support small businesses in this community. Together, we can create spaces where local voices are heard and cherished." Hope flickered brightly within James. "So, you're saying we could fight back against the gentrification?" "Yes," Gerald smiled, "but we need to unite. Today's event is just the first step. We'll document everything, share the stories of this community beyond the confines of these streets. Let us show the world what it means to come together." The crowd erupted into cheers, and James felt a glimmer of thrilling possibility wash over him. This was what they had fought for, an opportunity to be seen and heard. "Let us make it happen, then." Emily's voice rang out, filled with renewed energy. "We can collaborate, build something incredible together." With a strong sense of solidarity enveloping them, ideas bounced back and forth, each more vibrant than the last. The car show now transformed into a full-fledged celebration of everything the community had to offer: stories, talents, and dreams coalescing in a way that no one had anticipated. But as the air crackled with excitement, Dale stood silently, frustration brewing. This wasn't how he imagined the day would unfold. And in his silent fuming, James felt a confidence bloom. This was their moment, and they wouldn't let go. "Let us show him what this community can achieve," James called out. "Together, we can rise above any threat." The crowd roared in approval, hearts united in purpose, determined to carve out a future filled with prospects. As laughter and cheers filled the air, James caught a glimpse of Emily beside him. Her spirit shined as bright as the morning sun, and he knew then this fight had not just been for business, but for family. It was a testament to their roots. The energy surged, and it felt as if the world was lifting them all higher. They were not just individuals against a Goliath. They were a passionate community, embracing change and redefining what it meant to stand together. As they dove into action, James felt a swell of gratitude, a realization that he had transformed alongside Emily through vulnerability, unity, and unwavering hope. They had found not only the means to fight gentrification, but had also rekindled their shared dream, one of empowerment, resilience, and love. Now, standing shoulder to shoulder with his friends, neighbors, and Emily, he knew this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. "Let us make this the day we'll never forget," he shouted, a radiant smile sweeping across his face. And together, they would make it happen. The world had a way of testing them, but they were ready to answer with a fierce heart, undeniable spirit, and above all, unity, a fiery match for any challenge ahead. If you felt inspired by this story of transformation and resilience, then you need to subscribe now to catch our next incredible tales. Drop a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this positivity flowing. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts and feelings about this. Ending your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the joy and courage of community.